Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. This is Christina Vogel. I am running for Erie County Executive. I'm here with Dr. Rhonda Matthews to have an honest conversation about some of the issues that are affecting Erie County. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's start off with tell me what you think about this election that's coming up.
Ooh, I think it's crucial. I think it's very important. Now, listen, I am a retired university professor. Just retired in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I am a political sociologist, but even before I was trained, I was kind of steeped in politics and what happens socially, in our world. Shirley Chisholm ran for president when I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Right? And, I'm this little skinny black girl that everybody thought was really smart, in Los Angeles. And she's this skinny black woman, very smart, right, on the other side of the country who is running for president and making real inroads, right? And it affected me. Didn't realize how much it affected me, but her work and her philosophies about community and how politics and elections can, give the people power to make real good change in our communities has been a constant part of my life. So for me, every election has been important. Everyone has been important, but possibly none more important than this one.
And tell me why, and I agree with you, and I see that. I feel like, and when I have gone out across Erie County, that is the reaction that I get, and that is what I am experiencing as well, which is why I wanted to have this conversation. But tell me why you feel that as well. What do you see?
I'm going to say something that a lot of people don't want to hear. But it's a reality because I try my best to deal in realities. We don't have a functioning federal government. We don't.
Right.
But there are still 300 million people in this country who need representation and who need structures that help govern what happens in their regular everyday lives, in education, and whether or not they can purchase a home, in their jobs, et cetera, whether the roads have potholes in them, things like that. Those things still have to happen. And so the reason that for me, this election, this local election right here in Erie, Pennsylvania is important is because we don't have a functioning federal government. Our local governments need to be not just functional, but they need to work for everybody who is in our county. And the people that we have representing us are of the utmost importance. I mean, I can talk about it. I can keep saying these words over and over and over again. And I know that for a lot of young people, it's hard to hear an old person say, this is an important election because, they're like, well, you've been saying that to us all this time.
Yeah.
It's because it's true,
Yeah.
right? But that's why it's important because we need good representation in the face of a crumbling federal system. We do. We just do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think about what Erie County was like for the first 8 years that I lived here before the current county executive became county executive, there were programs that I participated in a variety of manners with different organizations that I belong to that have been removed from the community. And when that has happened, the momentum that I feel like we were building over the first 8 years that I lived here has gone away.
Get stalled. Yeah.
Right. And so do you feel that in your life as well?
Yes, I do. And it's one of the reasons that I see it or that I quote unquote feel it is not necessarily because, for instance, I don't have a kid who is young enough to participate in, say, the Earn and Learn program, right? So so there are some of these programs that don't necessarily affect me directly, but they do affect me indirectly. So yeah, I do think that. I think that when you start taking, first of all, let's back up for a second. Um, Erie, Pennsylvania has over 1,000 registered nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot for such a small place, right?
Yeah.
We are a small city, but 1,000 nonprofits is a lot of nonprofits. And one of the reasons that nonprofits spring up across the country is because programs such as the ones that you're talking about get taken away by government, right? And so there are people in the community who are saying, but that program was really good, and it kept our youth off the streets. It helped drive down crime. It helped reduce food insecurity, et cetera. So then those folks say, well, somebody's got to do it. If the government is not doing it, then let's start a nonprofit so we can do it, right? And that's why we have so many nonprofits here, right? Because people step in because they see a need that is no longer being completed by the government, and they feel like, let me step in and do this work. So, but what the work of nonprofits do can never truly take the place of the work that the government is supposed to do for the people, right? Even if you have a nonprofit that these don't occur very often. I just want to say I'm about to talk about a unicorn. But if you have a nonprofit that has millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, its work is still going to be eaten up by administrative costs, by having to pay other organizations and people to do, particular amounts of work that maybe the government used to do. And so no one nonprofit is going to be everything to everybody. Our mechanism for taking care of the people really lies in government. And so I know I've talked a long time.
No, you're good.
Saying this, but that's why it's important.
You know, I was just on Wednesday at the Bethany Outreach for their food delivery that they do every week. And I asked them what is the first of all, the number of people that you serve, but then how many of those are reoccurring and how many of those are new? And they said about 75% are reoccurring and 25% are new, but their need continues to grow. But also, you know, there's a confluence of things that happen, right? So they had a homeless person that was sleeping there before they had to get everybody in place to, give the food to everyone. And you kind of see these different avenues of crisis in the community,
right,
that we aren't fixing as much as they are just limping along.
Right. And one of the things that one of the things I used to teach is social problems. We talk about different social problems, and one of the things that I learned in all my years studying and teaching social problems is that the one institution that's capable of solving social problems is the government. It's the only institution that we have that literally touches every part, every facet of our lives. It's the only one that has all these different mechanisms to actually deploy people, to put folks in place to deal with huge problems. I mean, if you think about the New Deal, now again, I know I'm a nerd, I'm an egghead. I'm about to start talking about like a nerd and an egghead, but that's why the New Deal worked, right? Because the Roosevelt administration understood that everybody was suffering in inordinate ways, right? Like lots of different ways. The government has to step in and do this big thing to lift people out of poverty, to make sure that they eat, to make sure that kids are able to go to school, to make sure that women are not dying in childbirth, right? All of these different things, to take care of veterans when they come home, damaged from war. And so what you saw at Bethany is a product of us not really having great governance. When you don't have great governance, the people suffer. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of my concerns is, to go back to your first question, is that maybe we're going to continue to see that. and that's untenable. We can't go back to that.
Well, how do we get, I know we have to go, but how do we increase the voter turnout for, I mean, the nation writ large, but specifically in Erie County, because it is so important. And it's, every single election, I can't believe so few people vote.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah. Tell me why you think it is, and then I'll answer.
I think that it's a combination of people being disillusioned with the
Yeah.
process. They feel like they're left behind and that their vote doesn't matter. And part of it is, I think the fragmented news cycle or whatever, however you want to say that, media that we have today, where we're not watching the same things, we're not plugged into the same information. And I think that we have become kind of apathetic to what is happening and don't feel that we have any power. We've given over the power that was created when the nation was created, which is ironic because the way that that people continue to do that when they don't vote is not voting. And so it's I think a self-fulfilling kind of issue.
It is.
But there's nobody that is really, I don't know, the message they've tried, different groups have tried to make a real dent in it, but yet you can't seem to really make any difference. I will tell you, my dad doesn't read very well, and he didn't go to college, but he always votes. And that was always something that, I remember every year that was sacrosanct.
Yeah.
You went to vote. And I don't know how that changed because somehow I believe that it did, What do you think?
That you're absolutely right. But there's a word that you said that I think is the most important in all this, that I think people don't pay enough attention to or don't really maybe understand, and that's power. I think people feel powerless, but they feel powerless because they don't know that the power of the people lies in their participation in government. That is the only power we have. We don't have any other power, right? Not really. We have the power of the purse. If a company is not doing something that we like, or if they're being discriminatory or whatever, we can say we're not going to take our dollars there, right? But that's not really the kind of power that puts food on our tables, that makes our kids' schools good, that funds, public services. That's not the power that does it. The only power that the people have is participating in our systems of governance. Not just voting. Yes, that, but not just voting.
Yeah.
Going to city council meetings.
Right.
Going to county council meetings, right? Keeping tabs on what their state representatives are doing and letting them know when they show up, when they come to your hometown to talk to you, showing up and asking them questions and keeping their feet to the fire, that kind of thing. That's our power. And I don't think people understand that that's our only power.
Yeah.
And that we're giving it away when we don't vote. Because we do complain about the people who are in office.
Right.
But then we don't go vote. So you get people in office who take money from us, who and when I say take money, I don't necessarily mean they're stealing, but I mean if we think a particular program is important and we can see the difference that it's having in our community, and then we don't go vote, and the next person who gets in office says, well, let me just take that money and put it over here, then we've lost our power, right? We can't say anything about it because we didn't exercise the only true power that we have as a collective. So I agree with you. So how do you think? How would you give power back to the people? How would you let constituents know that this is their power?
I mean, so it is holding town halls. It is getting people involved in the process. It is having a clear discussion with council and with the organizations, and letting that transparency be part of the process of government. The media being able to share information with different agencies, which right now all of that has been stymied. And so I think, and really I think also encouraging people to hold their elected officials accountable, including me, if I win in November. I think that is part of a functioning democracy, and that we have let that go, and something we need to bring back into focus for people.
Oh, I think that's good. I have another question for you. So how come you're running?
Because I believe that I have a unique skill set that can make a real difference. And I have watched the last 3.5 years as the fabric of the community has been eroded. And if there is any hope for my 3 children to be able to live here and have, good paying jobs, family sustaining wages, then I felt that it was a duty to be able to run and give it a chance. I mean, we tell our kids, I've said this so many times, to be the change, make a difference, do the right thing, and if we aren't held accountable to that, the same kind of things that we tell our children, then, I don't feel like that is true to who we are. And I believe in it. And every day that I've been running since January, I am more and more convicted that this is the right thing to do, and that it is imperative that we change the direction in the county executive's office, and that I win in November, and I'm committed to doing that, and I am not resting until the 5th.
Oh, all right. Glad to hear that. I mean, but you're really running because you want the kids to be all right.
Yes.
All the kids to be all right.
Right. Because I know what economic fragility and instability is like. And having a stable, going back to what you were saying, a stable foundation is the heart and the base of financial security and a strong community.
Agreed. That's good. I'm glad you're running.
Thank you.
I am.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate
You're welcome.
this. This was great.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for asking me.
Yes.
Yeah.